healthy, fit, strong, lean, happy. What a great way to live your life. And have you met people who live their life that way and then for some reason they go back to being unhealthy, unfit, out of shape, overweight? They might even go back to a lousy, stinking, rotten job. It's been one of the perplexing questions of my life. Why do people who are out of shape get into great shape and then go back to being unfit and unhealthy? I'm in a martial arts studio, I think one of the best in the world, where people come here excited about being able to kick and punch and defend themselves and protect themselves, and they work through the grading system to get a black belt, and that's their goal. They say at the start, I want to get a black belt, I want to be a world champion. And some people almost make it. They go through the whole belt system. We've got two people who are at red belt, black stripe, which is one grading off a black belt, and they've given up. Why do people do that? Why as humans do we do a certain thing that adds massive value to our lives and then we stop doing it? Now, it's something that I can't understand because I'm a very old lady. I've been exercising all of my life. I'm healthier, fitter and stronger than I've ever been, literally, because I should be, shouldn't I? If I've been exercising all of my life, people say, oh, Rowie, you're in great shape and you're an old lady. Well, shouldn't I be? I've been exercising every day of my life since I was 10 years of age. So the outcome of that should be that you're healthy, fit and strong for all of your life. But how many people are consistently every day of their lives happy, healthy, fit, strong and loving their lives? And there's a better question to be asked. Is there any other way to live? Why would you want to start something and not finish? I've run quite a few marathons and it just completely perplexes me how many people will start running a marathon, they've trained for it, and then they stop at 35 kilometres or they stop at 37 kilometres. Some people stop at 40 kilometres and they've only got 2 to go. I don't understand that because for me, if you start something, then finish it. But everybody gets to live their life the way they want to. I'm just asking the question because I don't have an answer. Why do people stop? If you want to be fit, strong, healthy, have a career or business that you love, be financially free and have great people in your life, which is something I talk about every single day, but isn't that the only way to live? And I'll do the reverse. Why would you want to be unfit, unhealthy, weak and overweight? Why would you want to have a lousy, stinking, rotten job? Why would you want to be broke, poor or struggling for money? Why would you want to have horrible people in your life? Why would anybody want to live in any of those boxes, let alone all of them? But I'm sure that you've met people who do live like that. The interesting thing with those 4 things and why I chat about them every day is they're all a choice. We get to choose how fit and strong we are. We choose our career or our business. We choose our financial situation and we choose the people that we put into our lives. If you start martial arts at white belt, you choose whether or not you go through to black belt and beyond. And of course, the very joyous thing that's happened in our life just recently is my gorgeous husband K-Man in this very room went from a 5th degree black belt to a 6th degree black belt. So yes, black belt, and he was the youngest black belt in Australia at 15 years of age. But now, and he is considered a very old man, but how awesome to be 60 and be a 6th Dan in Taekwondo, a black belt at that high level. That's called commitment, discipline, focus. Why would you stop if you haven't finished? If you are doing an education, it's a really interesting thing at Max. A lot of people start our program, I'm going to have my own gym, I'm going to be an online fitness business owner, I'm going to have a home studio, I'm going to travel the world as an exercise professional. I'm so excited to have a career that I love, helping people to be healthy, fit and strong. And the first time they get a tough question or they get a challenge or something's not going right in their life, they quit. Why as humans do we quit? Because for me, the only definition of failure is to quit. And so many people share with me, I'm so scared of failing. Well, you can't fail if you don't quit. Don't quit and you'll never fail. It's a very simple process. Start something and don't stop. Why on earth would you make a commitment to yourself, a promise to yourself, and then stop? Now, the really perplexing one for me, and I'm going to share it again, is if you've never been healthy, fit and strong and you think you need to become healthy, fit and strong, it might seem like a really tough journey because you haven't done it before. But there are so many people in the world that have been healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic, and they go back to being overweight, unfit, lazy, undisciplined. maybe they were never disciplined. Maybe, and that was something I shared a very long time ago. Rowie, there are nice people in the world and there are horrible people in the world. There's no such thing as somebody that's nice sometimes. It's a horrible person who's being nice because they want to get something from somebody, which means they're still a horrible person. Maybe that's about discipline. You're either disciplined or you're not. You either make a commitment to doing something and you finish it, or you don't. And that's a choice, of course, as humans. But I always ask, and this is my begging position, our kids, our future adults, if they see us start and not finish, if they see us start martial arts at white belt and say, yes, I'm going to become a black belt, and then we quit. We've had a few people at this club that the parents have actually said, my kids have to do martial arts until they become a black belt. They've got no choice. And then there's another great quote, kids don't quit martial arts, parents do. And we've had kids who are no longer doing martial arts. One of those perplexing questions in my head. If we tell our kids, you need to start and not stop. If you never want to fail, don't quit. If you quit, you fail. So there's no such thing as winning and losing, there's just winning and learning. And we keep going until we win. And surely the ultimate win is that I've started and I haven't stopped. And that's a really fun one for me and a very interesting side note. I never thought I could run a marathon. I was told, Rowie, it's a very simple process. You've run many half marathons. All you do when you do a full marathon, when the gun goes off, you start running. And when you cross the finish line, you stop running. There's no option in between. What if we all had that attitude about everything that we start? I've started and I'm not going to stop until I've finished. Could that be the only way to live your life to the max?